G'day, Michael. The opening there I mentioned about your website, michaelsheargold.com.au. Lots of great tools on there. Tell us about what we can see.
Yeah, Kevin, one of the things that we've already aimed to do with our the new Michael Sheargold site is deliver value to the profession. So if you're a leader, if you're an agent, there are tools there, ebooks you can download, videos you can watch, and little quick wins. And our blog post is being updated on a regular basis with relevant articles you can take and apply in the marketplace right now. And I see a big part of my role, and my vision has always been improving the reputation, the results of the real estate profession, reputation with clients, and being known for doing great things. So I want to have an impact in that particular area. And secondly, results we are achieving for clients, but also results we're achieving for ourselves. This is a risk reward business. So any risk reward business, if you're willing to put in the risk of your time and energy, you should be getting a great return on that. And that's that return on investment of the time you're putting in. And most agents are putting in, somewhere about the 2,500 hours per year into their real estate business. So you put 2,500 hours into something, you want to get a good return on that. And some aren't getting the return that they should be getting. And a lot of it is just a simple shift in strategy, a shift in mindset. And I see a big part of my role in working with profession in 2 decades now, Kevin, in really supporting great sort of entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneur who works within the business and saying, hey, I'm up for the game. Let me learn this, let me upgrade this and put this in play. And I will say that quite often it's the learning you do once you think you know it that gives you that competitive edge. I remember Greg Norman being interviewed by a young interviewee on a TV show, and this interviewer said, "Oh, you've been a relatively lucky golfer in your career." And Greg Norman's got a particular smirk that he does when he really wants to say, "You little shit," and he turns around and said, "Yeah, you get pretty lucky when you hit 10,000 golf balls a week." And it was sort of this mode of him sort of saying that it looks easy, but that's because I've done the work behind the scenes to get to there. So I'm the guy that is ideally helping a lot of people integrate things in a way that makes sense. It's not about knowing more, Kevin. It's actually about integrating and doing those things that will actually make a difference in your marketplace with your kinds of clients.
Absolutely. Some wonderful insights there too. And that's at michaelsheargold.com.au. Hey, let's get to our topic for the day, mate, and that is buyer engage. What's that?
michaelsheargold.com, Kevin. Just drop that AU.
Oh, okay. michaelsheargold.com. Mate, let's talk about buyer engagement.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I think buyers have enjoyed through this particular process is there's been more focus and more energy coming back to buyers. Follow-up phone calls, going back over old buyer lists and saying, hey, you were looking at a property 2 months ago, 3 months ago, just wondering where you at now in the buying and selling process. So starting to have those kind of engaged conversations. And look, I think best practice now is for communications with the buyer after they actually inquire on a property. What was probably the case is no follow-up or at best one follow-up. But in actual fact, it's actually building trust through that frequency that's going to actually make a big difference. And Kevin, with this, I talk about engaging, educating and committing buyers. So you've got to engage them. And this is that situation, even from the first inquiry you might get, let's take a phone inquiry, for example, but even an email inquiry, because a lot's coming through via email now. But the phone inquiry, oh, hi, I'm interested in property XYZ. As opposed to, no, you have a window of opportunity to engage them in the property. Hey, that's a fantastic property. And you've got to also almost make them feel like you are an incredibly smart individual because you put this property on your shopping list. Well done, good job kind of thing. And, not in those words, but in the words like, hey, we had some fantastic interest in the property. Great. I'd love to ask you a couple of questions just to make sure I can look after you best and serve you best. So all of a sudden you get into a quality conversation right up front. Whereas a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, it's open on Saturday at 10:45. I'll see you there. It's like, why on earth would you do that? And by the way, we know 2 in 10 buyers are also pipeline sellers. They will sell in the next 6 to 12 months. So why on earth wouldn't you treat these buyers in an exceptional way? And by the way, I always feel that when a vendor, when a seller hands the keys over their property and signs an agency agreement with you, the level of service you're offering buyers is really the level of service you're offering the seller, because they've entrusted you to represent their property and their best interests to that particular buyer pool. So looking at that, how well are we actually engaging it? And, I've always been in the mode of, do you have your hot buyers? And for most agents, you're needing between 15 and 20 hot buyers that you work with. If you don't have 15 or 20, there's a project for you right now to say, okay, I need to build this. So I'm going to have more buyer conversations to get my shortlist of 15 to 20, which are the buyers in the marketplace that you believe are most likely to transact next. So therefore, you can start to play the matchmaker, deal maker kind of a game with them in a far more effective way.
Yeah, gee, there's some gold in there. And I do think, just to close this conversation out, Michael, that we've lost a lot of those skills. I think, that focus has very much been on, just getting the listing, the saying of listing, and, if you list, you'll last in real estate. There are two sides to that. And I guess this has really been borne out too by the fact that the rise in popularity of buyer's agents, people who can just totally focus on the buyer. Huge amount of skill that we've just let go in some cases.
Yeah, and look, I think, Kevin, it's an easy skill to reconnect with. It's about, firstly, being truly interested. I mean, your skill set is, and anyone who has navigated through this marketplace, they've got a great baseline skill set. So this isn't saying, your skills are totally out of whack. It's actually applying them in the right way. So, it's a buyer call. Okay, my energy can be different. It's a buyer call. Wow. This is a key opportunity to demonstrate how market knowledge, market presence, and what is it about this property that makes it stand out? What's it about this street that stands out? What is it about this area that stands out? And we talk with our clients about buyer FM, and there are 3 sales you need to make with a buyer, because the buyer's not choosing you. Really important distinction. The buyer is choosing a property. Okay, so different with a buyer's agent, when they've actually chosen a buyer's agent to now serve their particular needs and go out and do that search component. But what we need to recognize is a buyer needs to be sold on the area, on the street, or if it's in a tower or an apartment building, sold on the apartment building, and then sold on the actual property itself. So, what is it about this area that makes it a great area to live in, to invest in, to own in? What is it about this street that makes it such a great street to live in, own, and invest? And what is it about this particular home, this particular apartment that makes it such a fantastic apartment to actually own, live, invest? And that own, live, invest is a framework that we introduce with our clients, where own, live, invest is sort of almost that conversation you start to have with them. It's really interesting in this street, Kevin. In the last 18 months, there's only been 1 3-bedroom property that has sold. That tells us that this is a tightly secured area, and people love living here. Which, by the way, you've just created some urgency and some scarcity. If you miss this one, this is the first in 18 months that's come up in this particular street. This is all information that agents can easily package up. You need to do some thoughtful thinking with it. And my recommendation for leaders who are tuned in, you should be doing a buyer FM conversation for each property that's coming to marketplace at the sales meeting. So it beefs up everyone's knowledge and everyone's framework. Test my skill set being able to communicate that, but more importantly, it builds up and beats the knowledge of everyone in that particular mode.
Yeah, well, that's fabulous. I love that idea of doing that at the sales meeting. And Michael, earlier in the week, we talked about market conditions, and there's no doubt right now, and you touched on it earlier in the week too, that, right now we're looking at a dearth in stock. We need more stock. But I think that can rapidly change. And what if it does? What if it swings around? That's what we want to talk about tomorrow, is working with sellers in a market where maybe we don't have as many buyers. If this really is a pent-up demand. We'll come back tomorrow. Michael Schigold will join us, and we'll talk about that and lots more tomorrow morning. Michael, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kevin.
The Daily RE Uncut Show is powered by CoreLogic and supported by Printforce, Rockend and Realty.com.au. Realty.com.au is where you will see all our shows: Real Estate Talk, The Property Show, Auction Update, and of course RE Uncut. We are the home of property.